And I'm waiting for your
Come
reaction.
on,
So I'm
baby.
gonna dish it to you after I say the name, and you go ahead and tee it off. Nicolas Batum.
Ooh, baby.
We've reached the final man on our wings list. Tristan da Silva from Colorado, a 6'9" wing with a 6'10" wingspan, a senior out there, averaged 16 points, 5.1 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 1.1 steals, shot 49.3% from the floor, 39.5% from deep. And you know what? I'm going to be in my Steve Francis, Stephon Marbury era. Oh. And I'm going to ISO all you out.
Take
and I'm
it
just
himself.
gonna,
Do it. No, throw it
I'm
off
not
the
going to take it
backboard.
myself.
Throw it off the
I'm
backboard
not
to
gonna do
yourself.
it.
Let's
Look,
go.
This is a guy that likely won't be in that 22 range, right? Because people are projecting him in that 12 to 18 range. But it could be a great value if he's one of those guys that slides for some reason. If a couple guys jump up the board in these late workouts and things shift a little, you could wind up at 22 with a real high value guy, and good with the off the ball cutting, pretty good from deep. I like kind of what I'm seeing here, especially because of his, because he's a guy that can come in and help right away.
Yeah, Steven, I'm going to toss you the lob off the backboard there because
look at that.
Because he had a great comparison that I didn't really even think of. I went through all the film. I was looking at stats and everything, watching it, and then Steven hit me with the NBA comparison. I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's right.
Let me get ready.
All it took, it was literally my first 30 seconds, and I was like, oh. And I'm waiting for your
Come on,
reaction. So I'm
baby.
gonna dish it to you after I say the name, and you go ahead and tee it off. Nicolas Batum.
Ooh, baby. No, bro. I see it. I definitely see it. That wasn't the guy I'm saying, but damn, do I see it. Go ahead, break it down, brother.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's the first of all, the stature. I think there's alignment there with the stature. And then with Da Silva, the other big thing is the ability to create off the dribble. He could be a connector and do things without the dribble, but the ability to do things at a specific tempo with the ball in his hands, I think is important as well. And then the other big thing that I was looking at with him, that stature and the versatility that it at least gives you in potential on the other side of the floor. And being able to plug gaps and be a help defender, showing in the driving lanes. And also being able to provide, like we talk about with Kevin Durant, often that secondary rim protection. It's a lot harder to do that, as we're seeing with the Dallas Mavericks, because of how the Celtics are manipulating them when it's not P.J. Washington, when it's not one of your other forwards or centers that's at that position to help over. So to have more pieces that can do those type of athletic things is extremely important. Again, that's a potential thing with Da Silva, but I think that's something that he could get to because he does have a certain level of care factor with his game that I feel would translate well to the league.
All right, can I go?
Yeah.
Let's go. So listen, I fucking love the Nick Batum. I love that. And here's the thing. Guys, go back and look at Nick Batum. He was a fantastic basketball player. We're not talking about the older version. We're talking about this guy that was, for a long time, causing havoc in the league. I will say this: when I look at that, I'm going to give you a higher. I'm gonna elevate the comparison a little bit.
Okay.
I think he can be Nick Batum, but if he hits all his strides, I see a little bit of two players in him. One, the Suns are gonna love. If you're watching this and you're gonna hear me say this, I see some Cam Johnson in this kid. Okay. I do. I see some Cam Johnson in him. His ability, because I think the most underrated thing about Cam Johnson was we knew he could shoot, but Cam was a decent defender. Okay, and he had the ability to actually be an asset for you defensively. When I look at Da Silva, he's got some work to do, but I see the attributes, and I'm saying this guy could come in day one with his maturity. The highest attribute I have for him when watching this tape is his basketball IQ. Smart as hell. Smart as hell, knows how to get his shots, knows how to collapse a defense, knows how to make the extra pass. He doesn't ever look like rushed or rattled when I see him play. Just look very cerebral. So it's a little bit of Cam Johnson. And then for some reason, y'all could tell me if I'm wrong, but damn, do I see a little bit of Kyle Kuzma in him.
Okay.
I see a little bit of Kyle Kuzma in him. There's times where I see him where he'll turn his back to the basket. hit a little shoulder roll, hit a nice little midi. He operates in an area where I'm like, man, this guy could do a little bit of everything. He can get to the rack, he can play in the mid range, and he can shoot the 3 ball. And for that reason, I'm like, dude, he got a little Kyle in him for me.
And then real quick. So you mentioned the cerebral part.
Yes.
I didn't do my job fully because you can't mention Nick Batum as a comp for anybody without starting up here.
That's right.
And the one thing that I think, and this is no slight to the Dallas Mavericks, but they get to this stage against this particular team, the discrepancy in IQ collectively, comprehensively, was not as significant in the prior 3 rounds as it is on this championship stage. Right, you look at the main rotation players for the Celtics, high IQ after high IQ after high IQ. The Mavericks just don't have that particular dynamic. So when it comes to thinking the game through, all of these games have been relatively close. You get to that point where the 5 minutes at the end of the game becomes a game in and of itself. This up here is what really wins those games more often than not. So that's the type of player, when you're making a Nick Batum comp, that's going to be something that's an asset past any other physical attribute that they can add to the game.
You don't play 20 years in the NBA unless you got it up here.
Not at all.
No, and it stands out on the film, especially with his passing. Like he only averaged 2.4 assists or something like that, but you can see the way that he gets into the lane on drives and knows where the ball needs to go. Yeah. He throws really nice, like one-handed wraparound passes to open shooters in the corner or bounce passes even to bigs that are rolling there. He's got a really good feel for the game, and that's something that you look at him defensively, like, yeah, there are areas for improvement, but because he understands the game, because he feels it very well, he's a guy that you project, especially with his size, he's 6'9", 6'10" wingspan, will be able to hold his own at least on that end of the floor. He's not a lockdown, wing perimeter stopper type guy, but if he can play the 3 or the 4, play 2 positions, and his shot is pure. Like it's beautiful. Like it very much is like a Nick Batum high release, beautiful rotation. The results, like the splashes, they're really nice to look at. It's aesthetically pleasing to watch this guy shoot the basketball. So he's got very noticeable skills that will translate to the next level right away. He is older. He's 23. But like we've talked about, you could use a guy that can come in on the wing, play multiple positions, and do a little bit of everything and be a threat as a catch and shoot guy as well. Da Silva checks a lot of the boxes that the Suns should be looking for. Unfortunately, he's a guy that if you want him, you might have to find a way to trade up a few spots because he could be going in those teens somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, if you get him at 22, I don't think he's Da Silva. I think it's the gold.
The gold. That's right. That's right.